wow, get the guitars in the shot there. Hey,
Yep,
there's
yep,
one of
exactly.
mine.
And it sure is, and that's one of my favorites.
Nice.
I got it not long after it came out. When I first saw that guitar, I forget exactly where it was, but I said, "Wow, that's a gorgeous Strat. I've never seen a Strat that gorgeous before." And then I saw the name on the headstock, and I'm like, "Well, holy shit!"
No,
No, I gotta
thanks.
have it. So,
Thank you. I
no, and
agree.
thank you.
I think it's I think it's a stunning looking instrument. And then when you get the opportunity to play it and feel it and hear it, it's equally as impressive. So I'm really happy with the way
Absolutely.
that it came out.
You and me both, and thank you for the opportunity to not only have such an awesome guitar like that, but also to talk to you and to take your time to talk to me and your fans and my followers and everything, my subscribers.
Yeah.
It's funny. I've been waiting for this opportunity since I was 12 years old, and that was 30 years ago when Ledbetter Heights came out. I first saw you on Austin City Limits, and as soon as I saw you and heard you play, not only did I want to play like you, but I also wanted to have hair like yours. And and it never happened. This is about as long as my hair's ever gotten. But it's just so cool to meet you, man, and to talk to you. Thank you for this.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks
Um,
for having me.
so let's jump right into the good deep stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
30-year anniversary of your debut album, which really put you on the map from the time you were what, like 17, 18 when you recorded that? Is that right?
Yeah, so I started writing it just after I signed my record deal when I was 16 and wrote it, over the course of probably the next year or so. Then I started recording it the last 3 months of my senior year in high school while I was still 17. And then I graduated high school, turned 18 in June, and the record came out that September. And here we are, 30 years later.
That's so cool. Here we are. What was that like to have a record deal at 16? I mean, I'm 42. I haven't had one myself. So,
Well, it was cool. I mean, I don't know. I feel like record deals, I feel like they were a little more significant back then than they are now, to be honest with you. There's so much that independent artists can do for themselves now that you didn't have the power or ability to do back then. Like you needed a record company because you didn't have the money to be able to record for yourself. You didn't have the connections to market yourself. You didn't have the tools to do so many things that now you can just do on a laptop or through social media. So it was pretty amazing. None of my friends actually, well, most of my friends, the people that I knew at school, they didn't believe it. Like they thought I was just lying. And so it was kind of this really funny thing where I was going every week to go record this album for this major record label, and all the people at school thought I was lying about it until the record came out, and then they realized it was all true.
that's really cool. I think the biggest amount of fame that I ever got in high school was like playing the junior variety show, and that was cool, but it wasn't a record deal. I've got to tell you, I mean, I was such a fan. The internet was new to me back then and all that. We're talking about like 1996, 97, 98, and stuff,
Hmm.
and I was like on your message board every day on your website and all that stuff. Then when Trouble Is came out, and Slow Ride, that album felt like you had already grown so much in certain ways, but
Yeah.
I still just I was still listening to Ledbetter Heights so much. I'm not going to embarrass myself and try the riff from Born with a Broken Heart or something, but that's the stuff that I like right when I had first started taking the guitar seriously, like at 12, 13 years old. I was just trying to play that stuff, that and Shame, Shame, Shame and While We Cry and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess that's my way of saying if anybody hasn't heard that, if anybody's been living under a rock for 30 years, you got to check out Ledbetter Heights. And not just the album, but you're starting to go out on tour now on the 30th anniversary tour. And I'm going to be seeing you when you're here in Tucson in a
Yeah.
couple months. But I'm so glad that I can talk to you now. So, it's toward the beginning of the tour. Tell me and everybody about the tour.
So the tour started, we kicked it off in Texas. We started with Dallas, Austin, and Houston. Then we worked our way back up towards Tennessee and played the Ryman in Nashville. And now we're up in the Northeast. So we're in the like second or third week of the tour. It's been going great. So what we're doing is this is the first time ever in my entire career that we're playing the entire Ledbetter Heights album. Every song off the record. We never
Awesome.
did that even back when the record first came out. So, and there's a few of these songs like While We Cry has been in and out of the set list over the past 30 years. Deja Voodoo, Born with a Broken Heart, and then to a much lesser degree, Aberdeen. But other than those
Mm.
songs, like we have not played the rest of those songs in probably 29 years. And so we
Wow.
went in the studio and we recorded a new version of the Ledbetter Heights album.
Mhm.
And the biggest difference being that on the original album, we had Corey Sterling was the lead singer in my band. And
Yep.
Corey, after that we did that record and did the tour, by the end of that tour, when we were getting ready to go and record the second album, Trouble Is, we had a parting of the ways. And then we started looking for a new singer, and that's when we found Noah Hunt. And then Noah
And
joined with
Noah,
him.
yeah, yeah.
And so he's
Okay.
been with me ever since, even as I've started singing lead vocals as well. So, but he's still in the band. And but a lot of the fans, especially back then, there was this, chatter about, wow, I wonder what Ledbetter Heights would have sounded like if Noah had been in the band. And so now they'll get to hear that. And it also gave us an opportunity to get really intimately reacquainted with these songs that we haven't played in a long time. And so we recorded the new version. It'll come out in May, and
Awesome,
um
awesome.
so we're playing all these songs live, and then we're doing a collection of other songs after that, from different records that we've put out over the past 30 years, because we've been making new music the whole time. I mean, we just
Oh,
released
yeah.
I've had 3 albums come out in the past 2.5 years. We had Dirt on My Diamonds Volume 1 and Volume
1
2, and
and
then I
2,
did
yep.
Young Fashioned Ways with 92-year-old blues legend Bobby Rush. So
Which I
we're
love
working
that. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I
We're
gotta say,
working
not that
on
I
new
wanna
s
cut you off, I'm sorry for interrupting
No.
you, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
those are awesome, awesome albums. You keep talking, I'm sorry.
No, it's good. And we're working on new material now too. So, well, we have a lot of stuff in the pipeline that's going to keep us, I mean, now, in the world we're in today, it's all about as constant of a stream of material that that you can put out. It's keeping your fan engaged, and for us, like, we make records so we can go play shows, because that's what we do best. Is we get on stage and we play at great concerts and we entertain the people. And so as long as we keep doing that and we keep making new records, we can keep touring and doing shows for people.
You mentioned that way back when Trouble Is came out and Noah joined the band and stuff, um,
Mhm.
there was a lot of chatter about what would Ledbetter Heights have sounded like if Noah had been on the record instead of Corey and stuff,
Right.
and I understand, I think Corey just passed away recently, like a year ago or something like that, I believe, right?
Yeah. Somebody
Okay.
had reached out to me about that through social media, actually, which is really interesting.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I don't know how he died.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know why he died, but yeah, I know that he passed away, and so that also played into the whole thing where, when we did a 25th anniversary album for the
Mhm.
Trouble Is record. We did a new version of the Trouble Is record a few years ago to celebrate the 25th anniversary of that record. But we had all the people in the studio. The only person we didn't
Mm.
have in the studio that was Tommy Shannon on bass. But everyone
Oh,
else, we had the entire team of musicians and producer and everything in the studio to make the new version of Trouble Is. So we basically, then it became, oh, I want to recreate this record. Um, and so we basically did a pretty faithful recreation of the Trouble Is record. Well, for the Ledbetter Heights album, we that was never going to be possible. We didn't have the only two original people that played on the new version of Ledbetter Heights is me and Chris Layton from Double Trouble. So
right.
um so the goal was never to try and duplicate the original. It was more, just kind of update it, show people how this music sounds with us playing it after 30 years of experience in touring, and also,
Mhm.
just to like, I don't know, doing this tour has really shown me that, like, this music has stood the test of time. I mean, it all sounds completely relevant today, like just as relevant and just as good as it did 30 years ago.
They're timeless, timeless songs. You're playing as time. It's funny because for anybody who's followed your career and has heard the newer records and stuff, you can see the evolution of your playing because somehow you're one of those people that just keeps getting better and better and better. But your playing was phenomenal on Ledbetter Heights 30 years ago. And so I can't wait to hear what you're doing on the new Ledbetter Heights. I was one of those people on the message board. If you've got an archive on the message board, I forget what my 13-year-old handle was or something back then. But I was one of those people saying, what would Ledbetter Heights have sounded like if Noah had sung on it? So that's super exciting that all this is going on now. But I've got to ask you too, what was it like as a teenager? And what's it like now still to play with guys like Chris Layton and Tommy Shannon? And for anybody that doesn't know, Tommy Shannon didn't just play in Double Trouble. He also played with Johnny Winter back in the 60s and 70s. I
Yep.
mean, what is it like to be with musicians like that that have seen so much and seen it all and done it all, you know?
Well, it's amazing. I mean, I've been very fortunate through my entire career to have played with some of my biggest heroes, um, share the stage with them, make music with them, record albums with them. So, my by the on the first album, Chris Layton played drums from Double Trouble, right? He was the only member of Double Trouble that was on the first record. By the second album, we had the whole band in the studio. We had Tommy Shannon,
Mhm.
Chris Layton, and Reese Winans on
And
Trouble
Reese, yeah.
Is, and then on the third album, Live On as well. And then we've had all of them to varying degrees. Reese Winans plays keys on the new version of Ledbetter Heights. Chris is playing drums on the new version of Ledbetter Heights. Tommy's kind of retired from playing a few years ago, so that's why he's not on it. But for me, like I grew up listening to Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble. Obviously, I mean he was one of my biggest influences, and so when I got the opportunity to play with those guys, it was really interesting because like my style of playing was a lot of it, especially in the early days, was built around playing along with their records. So like it just fit like naturally. Like I just was able to just slot myself right in with the way those guys play. And yes, it's incredible. I mean, every night, I mean, Chris has been on tour with us on the road for over 20 something years now. And I still get excited every time I see him back there because he's just the best at what he does.
I can't argue with you there. One of the coolest things in my young life was when I was about 20, 21 or whatever. I got to meet and talk to Reese Winans for a little while because my dad knew Leroy Parnell and a bunch of the wonderful people at Gibson. And Leroy was a Gibson artist at the time and everything. He had the world's lightest non-chambered Les Paul, actually, and my dad always wanted it, but Leroy would never
Oh
sell
yeah.
it to him or give it to him. But Reese was touring at the time with Leroy, so
Mhm.
we got to spend some time together and everything. And I mean, Reese is like, at least to me, he seemed like the nicest human being you could ever meet. And I just to be able to tour with somebody who's so talented, and every time he plays, you just know it's him. He's got such a unique
Yeah.
style on the organ and on the piano. He's just, you know, he's just the total package. He's been with Bonamassa for a long time, and I grew up about an hour and 10 minutes away from Bonamassa. So I guess Reese has retired now. Is he coming out on the tour with
No,
you at all, or what's
no,
happening for that?
no, no. He's not. I think he's not retired from playing, but I think he's kind of
Oh,
retired from being on the road full time. So
okay.
I'm actually going into the studio next week to do a recording session, and he's going to be in there with us for that. So he's still very much playing music.
Oh,
I think
cool, cool,
maybe the
cool.
road was just getting a little, I don't know, too much.
He's got to be about probably 80 or something. I would say now, right, or 75,
Somebody's,
80,
I don't know
something
his
around
age.
those.
I don't know his exact age, but I think somebody told me yesterday they thought he was 76. So, but
Oh, okay, and
man,
so
look,
around
I
that,
mean,
you know.
look, I mean, I was on the road all year last year with Bobby Rush, and Bobby Rush is
Mhm.
92 years old, and that man is killing it. You know what I'm saying? Like he's up there and he's jumping around and singing and running all over the place, and he's 92. So, you just never know. It's different for everybody. Everybody ages at a different pace, and you know, um, all musicians kind of sooner or later, I think if you live long enough, you kind of, I don't know, some guys just go all the way through until the day that they die, and others kind of like go, man, it's time for me to hang it up and just spend some time at home. So everybody's
Well, and that
path
makes
is
sense.
different.
Yep, so that makes sense, and I'm so glad that you haven't hung it up even a little bit. It seems like you've always got a guitar in your hands. You're doing a lot, I've seen, for the Keeping the Blues Alive organization and stuff like that. What is your take on the blues today, and how to keep it going and advance this beautiful art form, this, like, raw American art form?
Well, I think that my band from day one was like not a traditional blues band. Like we kind of straddled. the worlds of blues and rock, which now that, with doing something like that would maybe fall into the Americana category, which didn't even exist back then. But there's so many names for it: blues rock, contemporary blues, like whatever you want to call it. But like, I've always kind of bounced back and forth between, us being a rock band and us doing blues stuff. And blues is always the core component, it's the foundation of my music. So over the years, just the term blues guitar player has just been so associated with me and what I do, that nowadays everybody like sees the Kenny Wayne Shepherd band and they think, oh, they're a blues band. But we've always been more than just a blues band. But that's always been my intention, was to try and take blues music and and try and like write songs that brought a little something new to the table, that would help usher it into the current era of music, and try and make it something that people outside of blues music would be drawn to, so that then we can pull them into the world of blues music and turn them on to all these other incredible artists that do blues music. So and it's worked pretty good. I mean, we've sold millions and millions of records and had a lot of success. And but I think it's necessary. And there's traditional blues people out there that, like, they don't want to hear anything, that they don't want to hear blues rock. They don't want to hear any. They just want to hear three chords, and they think it should blues music should only be one way. There's
Yeah.
still, though, there's a lot of people, that there's even younger artists that are coming up, and they're totally respecting the traditional art form of blues music. And so those people will continue the lineage of the craft of traditional blues music, along with all the records that we have of all these artists that have come along before us. That's documented history, so that will preserve the traditional art form of blues music as well. But I think in order for blues music to continue being relevant and for it to continue to grow and evolve, you have to continue to try and reach new people and bring them in. And that means also younger people. And so that's always what I've seen the younger generation do. That's the movement that I was spearheading when Ledbetter Heights came out in 1995, was because younger people saw me, and I was their age, and I think it piqued their curiosity that they saw someone their age playing this kind of music. And it wasn't traditional blues, so it was a little more relatable to them, and it brought a lot of those people into the genre. And so that's still happening today as well. So you have young artists that are preserving the authentic traditional art form of blues music, and then you also have a group of younger artists that are doing a more contemporary sound and are reaching more people, and that is what is going to continue to make it uh, to be healthy and continue to thrive. And I see that happening. So that's good.
Well, it sure worked for me. You did that with me. I mean, I'm proof positive that that what you did back then worked because you really got me into the blues. I got my first Stratocaster at 6 years old, and I played Johnny Be Good because that's my name, and that was like the one song that I knew how to play for like 6 or 7 years or whatever. Then when I was 12 and I started to take it seriously, it's like, wow, I see you on Austin City Limits, and then it just sort of like, whew, just goes like that for me into the
Yeah.
blues, and
Yeah.
I started realizing, even as a kid, everything I'm listening to, it's all based in this old blues music,
That's right.
and it was such a revelation for me at the time. Now it feels like secondhand, but for anybody who hasn't experienced that before, you got to check out not just Kenny's stuff, obviously, and you've got an amazing catalog of music. Really, really exciting stuff. And you mentioned a couple of the more recent albums, but you got what, about like 20 albums or so of like really, really like juicy stuff, tasty, tasty stuff. And
Thanks.
and whatever you call it, if you call it Americana, if you call it blues rock, if you call it, you know, KWS Supreme, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
it's just good music. So I mean
Yeah.
that's the whole point, I think, and awesome guitar playing, of course, too.
Thank you.
I just want to ask you, for any like younger people and like my younger students and stuff like that that are watching right now, what is your biggest advice for them? Like someone who's playing guitar and might want to make a career in this because you've done it from a very
Yeah.
young age.
Okay. So like I mean, honest to God, the thing that helped me the most across the board was playing music live in person with other human beings.
Mm.
Like you're gonna sit at home and you can learn like music playing along with yourself and playing along with the internet and YouTube videos and stuff. Like that's only going to get you so far. Like it honestly, like you can learn a lot and you can get a lot of skill and all that stuff. But like everything is different when you're playing with other people. You know, everything when you're playing with a video online, it's like it's pre ordained. It's like all mapped out already. There's no variables. Like it's going to be the same every single time you play along with that video or that song. But when you're playing with other people in real time and they're doing things that you're not expecting, or they're improvising, and then that leads you down another path, and then you start improvising and together, I mean, all that stuff, that is where tremendous growth takes place. And for me, that was out hitting the road and doing shows. Like in the first 5 years of my career, we did 250 shows every year, and
Wow.
there's only 365 days in the year, so you do the math, right? That's a lot of shows. And just every night up there, just woodshedding on stage with other players in front of other people too, because that energy that energy exchange you have with the crowd, that affects you and what you do as well. There's no substitute for that. That's real life experience, and that there's nothing that I can say that will get you uh, more on top of your game than that. It will take where if you feel like you've plateaued, that's going to take you to the next level.
That makes total sense, and that is sage wisdom from one of my favorite guitar players. He should be one of your favorite guitar players too, if he's not already. And I know he is because a lot of people asked for this interview. And I just want to thank you so much for all your time. Thank you for all the music and all the inspiration for me and so
Thank you.
many others, Kenny. I'll put links in the description of this video to all of Kenny's stuff, his Spotify, his website, all that, tour info. So check all that out. If you get a chance to see him on the road, guys, you got to take this opportunity. Hello, Kenny.
Yeah, how are you?
Hi, sorry about that. I had a little bit of a technical glitch on my end. My
Okay,
apologies. How are you doing?
it's all good. I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, thanks.
Oh wow, get the guitars in the shot there. Hey,
Yep,
there's
yep,
one of
exactly.
mine.
And it sure is, and that's one of my favorites.
Nice.
And the funny thing, oh, are we still there? Oh, sorry about that. I'm just trying to get the phone switched out because when I tried to join from my other phone, it didn't work. Oh, and luckily, I can edit all this, so it won't be so jumbled for the viewers.